I feel like we should have more moon technology or some shit. You know what I'm saying? I think shit is like flying up from the ocean to the sky.
It's like surfing in some oil spillage. Inhaled like a whole bag of goose feathers.
I worry primarily about whether there are nightclubs in heaven.
On the East Coast for a while. I was working on a tall ship in the Bahamas and in Boston.
Wow.
Yeah.
A tall ship?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's just an old-fashioned like sailing ship, 125-foot gaff rig schooner. I was sailing that for a couple months.
Can I get it right here? Or does it have to be up high?
It should be like close to your face.
Okay. What if I go like this?
Yeah, that's good too.
Can
All right, that ought to do it.
I have to be scooted in a little bit.
Yeah,
Do we wear headphones? You guys just talk.
we just talk. It usually works out.
How are the levels?
It was a rock lobster.
Everybody had matching towels.
Yeah. You guys know I've been doing this podcast with the Longhairs.
Uh-huh.
And it was kind of funny because one of our guys usually sets up all the stuff. And last Friday, he was gone.
Uh-huh.
We had like an in-person. A lot of times we do it over the phone.
Yeah.
And last week, we're just like, we had all the stuff and none of it was working. And I was like, oh, God. I had to figure it out. It was like 30 minutes of me like trying to figure out how to set everything up that I've never set up before.
Yeah, there was one time where I thought I really messed up with the podcast. Like it sounded like half static, but it turned out to be like my processing in the program. Like I had conflicting compressors. So I was like, oh my God, did I just ruin this?
Yeah.
But no.
And I've had the experience where I was like inviting somebody over to do voice work to record for like a different project, like an audio drama podcast that I'm working on. And
Yeah.
Ian was still asleep when they were getting ready to come over, so I have no idea how any of this works. So I would have to like rush downstairs and be like, "Hey, Ian, sorry, but you need to get up like now. I don't know how any of this works." And then he would like get it set up, and then they would come down and we would start recording, and then he would come in about 10 minutes into the recording and just be like, "Oh, okay, I didn't turn this on. It hasn't been recording this whole time." And we're like, "Fuck."
Oh, my God.
I do it to myself, though.
I'm a night owl. I sleep in late, and before I have my coffee, I'm utterly useless.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
I've seen like you're really into the coffee too.
Oh, yeah. Big coffee guy here.
I do not understand the appeal. I'm that asshole who just cannot stand coffee.
It's the same appeal of like drinking any beer, really. It's morning beer.
Yeah,
exactly. It's morning beer that you're allowed to drive
That
with.
stimulates you.
Yeah, that stimulates you.
Yeah.
Like it's got the same bitter taste. I mean, or same factors of like bitterness and like, especially if you drink it black, which I do.
Yeah.
And it just gets you going. Beer, you're ready to party or hang out. Coffee, you're ready for the day.
I think I have like a repressed memory tied to the smell and or taste of coffee. That's why I'm just so like completely repulsed by it. I can't find any other explanation for it. It's just bad. And like when I was working on the ship, like we were working incredibly long hours, and then you have to get up in the middle of the night to do watch for like a couple hours, and so you're getting no sleep. Especially like when we were sailing from Nassau to Boston, and like somebody just brought up, "Oh, hey, you want to get yourself some coffee?" I'm like, "No, thanks. I don't really like coffee." And then the entire crew just goes quiet and looks at me.
Yeah.
And then the captain just says, "Well, that's going to change." And it didn't, because I hate it that much. I just endured those hours, that workload, that non-existent sleep schedule without coffee, and I don't know how I did it.
Yeah.
I started drinking coffee when I went to Spain on a school trip in 2009. After that like transatlantic flight with no sleep, I was like, well, if any time's the start, it's now. I need to get some energy to walk around in Madrid.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That reminds me of like a Ben Stiller comment he made on some talk show or something. He was like, yeah, if you quit cigarettes or you quit drinking, everyone's like, oh yeah, good job. Like you quit cigarettes, you quit drinking. But if you're in line at Starbucks and you're like, oh, decaf or something, they're like, what are you doing?
What the fuck are you
Like,
Nobody orders decaf.
What do you think this is, pal?
Or like, what do you think that you're quitting coffee?
What's wrong with you?
What do you think? You're better than me?
You backing out on us, huh?
Yeah, you backing out on us?
You think you're better than us, huh? Everybody gets more Brooklyn as the scene goes forward.
Yeah, exactly.
But I have noticed, as somebody who like just really hates coffee and refuses to drink it, people's reactions to me saying that have gotten more and more aggressive as time has gone on. So he was dead on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I remember once I got to Boston, like there was a shipmate who was asking me like, "Hey, I'm making coffee. Do you want some?" I was like, "No, I hate coffee." And he just looks at me. He's like, "Shut your whore mouth." I'm like, God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't like the bean juice. I just don't.
I don't want your dirty water.
I don't want your dirt water.
I don't want your mud.
Get out of here.
Oh yeah, sailors are crazy with coffee because A, the sleep schedule, and B, the drinking. So they're always waking up hungover really early in the morning and having to work. And so like I got specifications for how to make, because when you get up and your first watch, you have to make the coffee. And so like people would give me notes on how to make coffee, and just like, yeah, you need more grounds in there, like basically motor oil consistency. That's how I like my coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Just super concentrated. I'm like, God, okay, I don't know if this can kill you, but I'll do it.
Yeah, I make my coffee pretty dark too, and I
Just-
drink 3 cups a day.
The consistency of pudding, really. I want to be able to eat my coffee with a spoon.
Yeah.
There's a type of coffee where you leave the grounds in. They call it Texas mud.
Texas mud.
That's what Texas mud is?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Texas tea is oil. That's right.
I think it comes from making like campground coffee where you use like the French press and like so the grounds end up getting in.
Yeah.
So they just like dump the rest of the grounds.
I
in the
remember
coffee.
I once watched somebody, apparently they just didn't, it was just one of those things where they didn't know any better. But I watched somebody over a campfire like boil a pot of coffee. I mean, like boil a pot of water and then just like take out a bag of grounds with a spoon and just dump two spoonfuls of grounds in. And then just stir it until it, I guess, kind of dissolved.
That
and
must
then-
have been
and then
instant coffee.
Drank that. No, it was not instant coffee. I looked at it and it was regular grounds.
Oh, God.
And like everybody in the campground made a thing of it. And they were just like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? I'm making coffee for everybody. No, you use filters. What?
Yeah.
And like he just didn't know it was a thing.
Have you ever
And
put
it was in his teeth and everything.
Yeah. Have you ever put coffee grounds on your tongue?
Yeah, I think so.
I want to live a long, full life. So no, I didn't.
Yeah, I tried that once. I was like,
Texture
oh, it
of
looks so
sand.
good. I was like, maybe I could just have a little coffee from the ground.
Yeah.
These like little coffee bites.
What's actually pretty good are like the chocolate covered coffee beans.
Oh, yeah.
Those are delicious.
Yeah, those are great. I had a kid from my elementary school. His mom used to make Swedish coffee balls.
What is a Swedish coffee ball?
It's basically like a chocolate coffee ball with like coconut or something.
Huh.
Some kind of
Interesting.
white powder. Sugar powder. Powder sugar.
Swedish coffee balls. I think they sell those at IKEA, and they're mostly made of horse meat.
Yeah, maybe that's not.
Anyway, this is episode 21. Let's welcome Charlie Cairncross, our first relative on the podcast.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Yeah.
What's the name of this podcast?
Oh, well, you bastards.
Oh, well, you bastards.
Yeah.
Couple of bastards here.
Just living life. Oh well. There's nothing you can do about it except podcast it.
You guys
man.
got the full-on welcome wagon with the tripod and the camera set up, ready
Yeah.
to go for podcast guests.
Yeah.
Love it.
The coaster with the Wi-Fi stamped on it and details about which version is faster. You really just went all out, just like giving all of the information about the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so I make cassette tapes, and I have like a stamp set of all the letters to like mark the tapes because pad printers for those are pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So I was just doing letter by letter or like groups of them together.
Like an old-fashioned printing press.
So Charlie, what have you been up to? I've seen like a little bit of the Longhairs, and you do social media for a car dealership, right?
Yeah, I work up in at a auto group in Carlsbad. Do digital marketing for them. I manage their websites and social media and other various marketing needs. I'm kind of a jack of all trades up there. Whatever they need me for, like it can range from like talking to a digital marketing expert to like, hey, can you drive this car down to the airport? So yeah, it's pretty fun. And then I've also been working for the Longhairs for 3 years now as their main social media manager, primary social media manager for the Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and I make a few blogs for them, and I've made a couple videos. And yeah, it's been 3 years now. When I started for them, we had like 300 followers. Now we're up to 10,000 followers, and it's a verified account now.
Nice.
Wow.
So it's been like a pretty cool little journey there, social media wise.
Yeah. I know a little bit of that world. I had to learn it for music, like learn the times to post, like trigger words that the algorithm filters you out and all that.
Yeah. It's changing all the time. It's so hard to keep up.
It was made a lot worse this year by Facebook and Instagram. Like page reach has gone down so much.
Yeah, they're just burning everyone. Mark is like, no more reach for anyone.
No.
Old Zuckerberg.
I need more billions.
Yeah.
You gotta pay to reach.
No, you can't target. They took away all these options on paid advertising for Facebook because, he had to go in front of Senate and there was a big scandal and all that.
Yeah.
You
With
guys-
the Cambridge Analytica scandal.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then,
yeah.
And then like GDPR changed things too about how Facebook runs, which ultimately that part is for the better.
What's GDPR?
It was passed in the EU. It was giving users back like some of their privacy and like right to information. Like now on Facebook, you could download all your Facebook data. So it gives you like
really?
a 300 megabyte zip file of everything Facebook knows about you.
Dude, that's so gnarly. You would
And-
never.
and-
I don't
Yeah,
want to
because-
read
all of
that.
it.
I don't want to read that. I don't want to know what
Yeah.
Facebook knows about me.
Yeah.
'Cause it probably looks really bad.
It's a little eerie. Only 9% of Facebook users did that. GDPR, like, since there's so many Facebook and Google and like Instagram users in the European Union, like all these sites had to change their practices. So in turn, it benefited us and it gives you more control over what they have or what they can take.
Yeah. Yeah, like you can't target people on income anymore.
Yeah.
Or I don't think you can target them on political affiliation either.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't know that one, but it makes sense.
But anyway, yeah, so been doing that. I had a little vlog this year that I started doing, and I kind of fell behind, and still July video is still in progress. Waiting to get that one out. But yeah, that's what I got going on. I haven't even seen you guys in like, since the last time Santa Claus was at the catamaran.
Yeah, that was like the one time we would see you.
That was a while ago, yeah.
Yeah, when we were kids, our both of our families, we're second cousins, so both of our sides of our family would come and go to the catamaran and PB, do a big Santa Claus event. Then we all found out it was Grandpa Larry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I caught him changing in the bathroom once.
Yeah, yeah. I was
Wow.
standing there with my other cousins, Pat and my brother George, and I was probably like, I don't know, 10 years old or something. And Pat's like, "You want to see something?" And George is like, "What are we gonna see?" And I'm like, "I don't want to see it. I don't want." Yeah, he's like, "The truth." And he like brought me back there, and there's like Larry putting his beard on. Shattered the childhood imagination.
I just feel like somebody in this family has to write a tell-all memoir called "I Saw Santa Changing in the Bathroom and He Was My Grandpa."
Yeah.
just as like the summation of all harsh truths in life.
Yeah, I could do a Christmas album and put that on there.
No, that's the title.
Yeah.
That's the title.
Man. Well, so what have you guys been up to? You've been running this podcast for how long now?
Over a year?
I think almost
almost
a year. I think first episode was in November of 2017.
Yeah, the first two episodes we recorded, just Jack and I. We were drunk and said, "Hey, let's finally record that podcast we've been talking about."
Were we
Yeah.
talking about it before that point? Because I feel like it was just one night
We were talking about it like a few days before. It was still kind of
we just
impromptu.
we just offhandedly mentioned it, and then a few nights later we got drunk and had a ridiculous long 2-hour long conversation in the kitchen, and then we were just like, should we go record a podcast? Yeah, let's do it. And then we just went downstairs and talked for another 2 hours.
And then we started bringing some of our friends in as guests.
And then it
And
actually
we've had some pretty interesting
and then it actually
people.
became a podcast instead of just two idiots talking.
Yeah.
That's funny, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I kept wanting to do a podcast because I was doing the commute to Carlsbad from Point Loma to Carlsbad every day for like a little over a year and a half.
It's a bit of a schlep.
Yeah, it's a bit of a schlep. And so when I had like an hour 20 like on the ride home, I would just call anyone and and I'd talk to people for like an hour, and I'm like, why don't I just record these conversations I'm having while I'm bored in my car?
Yeah.
You have no choice but to make that drive, make that time work for you.
Yeah, just I just recently found out about some podcasting thing called Anchor that you can record your phone calls.
Oh,
I
nice.
think that's what Maya was telling us about.
I was telling you guys about a different service. There's
Right.
one called Zencaster. So instead of like Skyping and routing the mixer and all that, like it'll just give you a WAV file at the end of somebody calling into your podcast. So that's a similar service. I think I've heard of Anchor. I'm in a few like podcasting groups on Facebook where people share tips.
Yeah, we actually used to use Zencaster over at the Longhairs for a few of the podcasts, and then we had a little issue with it just not connecting, or maybe we like ran out our free trial or something.
Yeah.
So we started using Ringer, and that's been working pretty well.
Nice. We haven't brought in any guests on Skype. I would like consider it, but we've also had like a ton of internet problems lately, so that could throw a cog in
There would be a lot of points in the episode where it just goes boom boom like that, and then Skype hung up sound, just like, oh shit, and then we'd have to cut, get up, get them back on, and then come back for about 8 minutes, and then it'd happen again.
Yeah. Well, so you guys have been doing this podcast here for a year, and you chose this room in your base. Is it a basement, or
It's
is it
sort
just
of a basement.
downstairs?
We're-
half basement.
Yeah, we're this house is built into the side of a hill, so it's kind of the basement, kind of the ground floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about like, oh, should we redo this room or should we leave it looking like a murder dungeon?
I feel like Murder Dungeon kind of like gets people's expectations right where they should be from the get-go.
Yeah, I kind of like the Murder Dungeon vibes. You know, you got the cinder block walls going.
Yeah, I was thinking we should
The walls are actually torn out.
yeah, that'll happen. I was thinking we should actually lean into it more and put like some red handprints up on the wall. You can already see like these black fingerprints on the wall.
Yeah, there's plenty of things that you could do with this cool little space here.
It's already off to a great start.
Yeah, you got the piano or the keyboard whenever you're ready.
Just always keep it set to pipe organ.
Yeah.
Just leave the cobwebs up and let them keep building up, never clean up there.
Let them accumulate, if anything.
Yeah, really. Maybe even just like put like the black drapes everywhere.
Yeah,
like
we
here
need to
and
like
there.
Hockey mask on the wall.
Yeah, we need to just like drape white cloths over everything.
Just go full on like haunted house.
Yeah.
And then start charging people to walk through your house.
Strobe light. Yeah. But just this room is haunted,
Just this.
and the tunnel that leads all the way back to the other storeroom.
Oh my gosh, I actually have a pretty funny story from I just visited my grandmother on my mom's side up in a little place called Point Roberts, Washington, which is like it's you know Point Loma?
Yeah,
And
we
you
went
know-
to school there.
And you know where that little border is before you get to go out to where the lighthouse is?
Yeah.
So it'd be like if that border went back to the US and that little end part there where the lighthouse is
Is Canada?
is Washington.
Oh.
So like the base is Canada.
Oh.
So I had to fly to Vancouver, and then you go out on this peninsula, and then the last little 3 miles of the peninsula is the US.
Yeah.
And it's called Point Roberts. That's where my grandma lives. In this house that's like old and wooden. And she's there by herself. She's about 80 something years old. And I get there and she goes, "Charlie, I've had this horrible thing that happened a couple weeks ago. I woke up at 2 a.m. and all the lights were flickering. And, I couldn't tell if there was a ghost. I really thought there was a ghost. I was walking around and lights would go on and off and flickering. It turned out to be a transformer that was messed up."
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just thinking, oh my God, like I'm here. I just flew all the way up here. I'm here the whole weekend. The ghost is going to get me. Paranormal activity.
Oh yeah.
I'm screwed.
Yeah.
And
It's always the person visiting that is like the main character in the horror movie. So maybe you'll get out of it, but you will be permanently scarred.
I will be.
And also, it might get you at the very, very end.
Yeah.
Just as one last scare. So you're really not safe.
No, seriously.
But you have the best odds of anybody in that equation.
At least I'm getting out of there at some point, hopefully.
Yeah.
And so she's really into rocks and spirituality and there's energy and things.
Healing crystals and
Healing
stuff.
crystals and
Yeah.
stuff. And she has this stool right next to her toilet in the bathroom that has about 5 rocks on it and like 3 rubber duckies. Just
Healing rubber duckies.
for details, right? For detail purposes. So the Saturday, She's in her room. I'm out in the living room. It's completely silent. You can't hear anything. There's no city. There's no sounds.
Right.
We just hear this pop. And she's like, "What is that?" I don't know what it is. We couldn't find anything that fell over or anything. She goes into her bathroom. She goes, "Oh my gosh, Charlie. One of the rocks had gone from her stool to like the edge of her shower where like the soap goes. You know? How the hell would that rock get there? You can bounce it. It wouldn't. There's no way for that to go there."
Huh.
And I'm like, okay, so it's haunted. It's officially haunted. I'm screwed. And I go to sleep. I'm in this wooden room. The house is creaking that night. I'm just laying there, just silent. I'm just like, I'm dead. I'm dead, man.
If I lay perfectly still, the ghosts will think I'm dead, and they'll think I'm one of them, and they'll leave me alone.
That is exactly the thought that goes through your head every
Yeah.
time. You're like, maybe if I'm just so still, they won't notice me.
Yeah.
If I get under the blanket, the monsters can't get me. I'm safety safe.
Yeah, our parents have a small cabin in Big Bear. We spent a lot of time there. The first few nights that I've had the cabin to myself, it gets pretty scary with the wind whipping around and you're seeing stuff in the tree shadows.
And the
Yeah.
coyotes just occasionally just ripping something apart.
Yeah,
not
like
far
a
away.
cat.
Yeah, like one night, it was like a couple weeks ago, so it was still summer. So even though it gets colder up there than it does down here, you still like leave the windows open at night just to keep everything cool. And I fall asleep on the couch, and then I wake up at like 2 a.m. to the sound of something on the opposite side of our fence getting ripped apart by coyotes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it's like, I think it was a raccoon or something, because whatever it was, it wasn't going down without a fight. And there was hissing and howling
Just
and
horrid noises.
just all these fighting noises for like 10 minutes. It went on for a while. It was a miserable amount of time, and I was woken up by it, so I came in media res, so it was probably going on longer than that. But
We've also had a bear get into our garbage in Big Bear.
yeah,
It was like close to 4th of July, yes, here, if I'm recalling correctly.
yeah.
They're making themselves known more now. Like
is-
for years you wouldn't see them at all, but
Yeah.
now they're coming into the neighborhoods for garbage.
And like, there's a downside, sure, but I think for the most part, it's probably good that a place called Big Bear that was pretty much devoid of bears for a long time because we hunted the shit out of them is finally like there are bears again.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing.
Population's bouncing back. We didn't ruin it completely.
Maybe just put like a big fence and keep the wild bears out of like don't hurt the bears when they come in through the garbage. Like just maybe fence off the human area.
We already tried to. We have like a garbage shelter. The thing is, it has like thin wire protecting it,
Okay.
so like bear got straight through
it
that.
keeps out coyotes and like kind of disincentivizes bears. But if the bear really wants some delicious trash, he's going to get in there.
Some
Bear's
people
gonna
just
get
leave
what
their
is-
trash out, and then it just goes all over the place.
I think it's only black bears that are like coming back. I think humans hunted grizzly bears to extinction in that area,
Yeah, grizzly bears don't exist in California anymore, from what I know.
except on the state flag. We did it, guys.
Yeah,
we did it.
We did it.
Woo!
So that rock, I woke up the next day
Oh boy.
and she goes, "Charlie, I know how that rock got over there." I'm like, "Oh God, please tell me." And she goes, I used it. I was trying to kill a spider with it, and then I ended up putting it over on the shower. And I was like, I freaking spent the whole night thinking I was going to get murdered by ghosts.
I thought she was going to tell you like, there was no rock. In fact, there have been no rocks here for 70 years.
In fact, I'm not even here. And she
and then
just
you
like fades
just
away.
pans out and everything's like burned out and like the walls are all black with ash and there's cobwebs
Just-
everywhere. It's like, ah!
Then Thanos is standing there with his reality stone.
It's a horror movie in the MCU.
Dude, speak of which, then I saw commercials for this X-Men horror movie that was supposed to come out, and then it never came out.
Yeah, because Fox has no idea what they're doing with the X-Men anymore.
They're just like completely like isn't it embarrassing at some point what like WB and Fox are doing with these superhero movies?
I'm like, there have been, I think, just a tiny there have been like 10 or 11 X-Men movies at this point, and there are like maybe 4 or 5 that are actually good if you count the Deadpool movies,
Yeah.
which I do. But
Yeah.
like the Bryan Singer ones, if you go back and like watch 1 and 2, they really don't age that well.
No, not at all.
No. And 3, I mean, what do you need to say about 3? And then like they thought that bringing Bryan Singer back would make them good again, and they just got confusing and strange, and now they're just kind of buying time until Marvel comes with enough money to take the X-Men away from them.
Yeah. Well, I saw recently on some like Marvel Instagram thing or something that said that Kevin Feige was going to take over the X-Men when once they get their hands on it.
Yeah,
which I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
but I like Days of Future Past and First Class, but the other one's just trash.
Yeah. I didn't even bother to go see Apocalypse. I just like have caught it in pieces when it's on FX, because FX has the movies.
They have the movies. Everybody knows
they
that.
They have the movies. Yeah.
And now they have FXX too.
Yeah, which is where they just put all the stuff people actually want to watch.
Does FXX have the movies too?
I don't know.
It has It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, they just moved like most of their original shows over to the FXX. So yeah, all the stuff people actually want to watch. Because like FX has the movies, but like 75% of those movies are movies nobody wants to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, they make the movies 4 times longer with commercials.
Oh my god!
And take away like chunks of the movie too.
Yeah, they take away parts of the movie, and then sometimes they include the bullshit like fake commentary stuff in between.
Yeah,
like as like buffer between the commercials, just to make it longer and have less of the movie.
Yeah. How does that even work out? Maybe they just like try and cut out parts where they have like mild cuss words or something,
I guess,
so they don't have to do like berries.
But I always like watching really raunchy movies cut for TV, because that's the funniest part.
Yeah,
like I've brought it up before. Like I was watching this version of like Kill Bill on AMC.
Yeah.
And this was like even before AMC was allowed to say shit. So like Kill Bill cut for that.
Yeah,
and it's just like that scene where like it's the skeezy orderly in the hospital when she's in the coma, and he just says, "My name is Buck, and I like to party." Like it's poorly dubbed in, but like they couldn't even change it so that it rhymes. Like they couldn't change it so it's like, "My name is Marty, and I like to party."
AMC was cool to the creators of Breaking Bad. They allowed Breaking Bad 1 uncensored fuck per season. They would just pay the fine for it.
And like, they would just pay the fine. Yeah. They're just like, "Hey guys, you keep the lights on here. Do whatever you want. Just
you get one fuck.
You get one.
Use it well.
You get one. Have fun with it." I noticed that like BoJack Horseman does the same thing, even though they don't have to. Like it's Netflix. They can say fuck as many times as they want, but they only do it like once a season.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a recent Marvel movie, or maybe they've been doing this in some of these MCU movies, where they just, I think it was Ant-Man and the Wasp, where they keep saying shit because it keeps it PG-13. Mm-hmm. So like they say shit as much as they can. They're just it's like every like 5 minutes, maybe every 2 minutes, there's like a shit or multiple shits. It's like, oh, you guys are just like trying to stretch this one out, huh?
Just trying to ride shit for all it's worth.
Don't shit the bed with this one, guys.
Yeah, aren't you allowed to say fuck once in a PG-13 movie?
Yeah, you get one fuck, but you get as many shits as you want.
Buy one fuck and you get unlimited shits.
So funny.
Jesus. But yeah, before we started recording, we were talking about like Infinity Gauntlet, like the original like arc from the early 90s.
Oh yeah.
And like they did like completely change Thanos' motivation for like why he wants the Infinity Stones, which I thought, like, as ridiculous as it was in the comics, I kind of liked that motivation better, of like he's literally in love with like an esoteric personification of death.
Yeah.
And he's trying to win her fancy, and he just ends up being an incel and just being sad that he can't win her over no matter what he does.
Do you think that it would be almost kind of cheesy, though, if he was like trying to like whoa death?
It is cheesy, and it's awesome. I'm on board with that. But like his like reworked like Robert Malthus kind of motivation of like not enough resources for everybody, I gotta kill half everybody. It's like, on its face, it at least works as like the villain believes he's doing the right thing, even if it's clear that he isn't. But like when you really just pick through the logic, it's just like, you put a lot of time and effort into this, and there are a lot of questions that I have that you clearly don't have answers for.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, I think that if you did the death one, if you remember in the comics, they had, not only did they have death, which was crazy, and they were torturing Nebula, which they tortured Nebula in like a less like gross way.
Yeah, but like he just leaves her like hanging on the edge of like basically disintegrating for like what appears to be weeks. Which is
like in the comics, she looks like she's ready to die of hunger, like exposure.
Yeah.
And like all this other shit.
He literally just says that he just like turns her into a giant pile of living cancer.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just leaves her on the edge of death for like ever.
Yeah, exactly. And then the MCU translation is that she's a robot and he's like stretching her parts apart.
Yeah.
But no, so the reason why I think some of these comic things would be too much even for a Marvel budget is like in the comics they have like time and space, like the god of space and the god of time and all these people who are literally just outlines and then filled with stars.
Yeah.
Like that's like their comic drawing.
Oh yeah.
They have like an eye. It's like chaos and like and reason are like two people. It's like, how do you portray
It'd
that?
be fun to see the CGI for that.
Yeah, like what kind of CGI are you gonna do?
The living tribunal that's just a head with 3 faces and it's God basically.
Yeah, like what even is a living tribunal and how does it match up against the god of time, Kronos or something?
Yeah, that kind of movie is gonna start looking like Rick and Morty.
Yeah, and that's why they made Ego the Living Planet into just Kurt Russell.
Which was a great.
I think that was probably the right call. I think there was like one shot in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 where they just had like the planet open up and have his face.
Yeah.
Like, and like that's enough for me because like if you were trying to take that seriously as like the villain of the entire movie on screen all the time, that would be a bit much.
You'd end up with like a Fantastic Four or Green Lantern, and then they wouldn't be fun. Mm-hmm. You remember those movies? It's just like a cloud.
Yeah. It's just a cloud. It's just a giant floating turd cloud.
Wow, I really am afraid and hate that cloud. I really hope the hero wins against this cloud.
Green Lantern deserves so much better than that movie.
Seriously, I wanted them to do Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
Jon Stewart we know from the Justice League TV show.
Yeah. I've always kind of wanted, like, if they were going to do Green Lantern, like, there are so many, like, Green Lanterns that you follow throughout the comics, and everybody has their favorite, and all of them have been around for so long that I really don't think you can just commit to one, especially not Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
So I think the way to go would be, like, just do, like, Lethal Weapon in space and pick 2 of them and put them together, like Hal Jordan and
Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart. Yeah. Or just, like...
a couple of soldiers.
Yeah, just like... just like the Mad Dog, like Loose Cannon Guy Gardner or something like that. Just like put any 2 of them together, and you'll have like a buddy cop movie in space with like cosmic stakes and shit. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
I like it. What do you think?
I'm not as deep into stuff as you guys, so I will see that movie, but I haven't liked a lot of the last few years of superhero movies.
Yeah, because they cracked a formula that works, and then they don't feel incentivized to change it until they run it into the ground.
Yeah, it's getting old for me. I want some weird superhero movies.
Yeah, and like just do odd shit. Like I think DC, after they completely broke down on like Justice League and stuff like that just did not pay off at all. I think they've decided to like more or less scrap everything except Wonder Woman and just be like, all right, now each one of these is just going to be odd shit, and if we want to tie them together we will, but mostly we're just going to make individual movies. Like Joaquin Phoenix is doing a Joker origin story with Martin Scorsese, and maybe that ties into other movies, maybe it doesn't, who cares?
Yeah,
I think
throwing
that
shit at the
movie
wall.
should be good.
Yeah, they're just hopefully they just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
And like you know, the Coen brothers could make a good Jonah Hex movie.
Jonah Hex is such like a D character.
D character, make a low budget Western with just like most of the budget just going into making his face look fucked up and making it look like the actual like 1880s.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do budget wise. Don't do anything crazy. Don't do the shitty Jonah Hex movie that they did a couple of years ago where he has like machine guns on his horse and shit. Just like make a down and dirty, ugly fucking Western movie.
That was really more like we still have Megan Fox here. We need to make more movies with her in it.
Yeah.
She's still available to be love interest, guys. We got to use this while it lasts.
Love interest for middle-aged Josh Brolin with a melted face.
Yeah.
That movie sucked.
Are you guys going to see Venom?
I mean, probably.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to see it, but I already know that's just going to be another one of those movies where it's the anti-hero in this case but the hero versus an exact replica of their powers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Iron Man 1 is a good example of that, right?
Oh yeah, it's just a bigger, clunkier Iron Man suit versus Iron Man.
Yeah. And then what's another good example of that? I don't know. But anyway, you know what I mean? They just make, like, Ant-Man, they do that. That was a bad one.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, well, he's got the same powers except for he's got laser beams.
Yeah. Well, and like Marvel, like all these movies have a problem with like forgettable villains. Like there are maybe like 2 or 3 really memorable villains out of like what 15 movies it's been now.
It's 21.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And like if you count the Netflix shows, you have Kingpin. So there are like that many memorable villains in all of these movies and TV shows, and it's just like that's where I think DC has an edge that they unfortunately haven't used, is that they have so many like villains who are as iconic or more so than the heroes. Like, Marvel, like if you go to the Marvel comics, there really aren't like as many really memorable and like unique villains. So it kind of just translates to that they're just underutilizing what's already a pretty limited resource. But DC is squandering just gold. Like really great villains, like top of the line iconic villains, and they just aren't really making good use of them. Like,
it's just sad. Well, Ian, let's get you back in on this conversation.
Even though like the first like few Spider-Man movies have their faults, like Willem Dafoe's pretty memorable.
Exactly, yeah. Because they just let
they
him
need
go
good villains
nuts.
to rope in people like me.
Yeah, they let Willem Dafoe go crazy with the guy who directed Evil Dead. So it was just like, let's just ham it up like crazy, and it was awesome. He was just he was just doing this ridiculous monologue to his own reflection in the mirror.
Yeah, they need to bring in like all directors who aren't known for Marvel, like all odd choices.
Yeah. Who the fuck would have thought that Sam Raimi, the Evil Dead guy, would make a good Spider-Man movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
let Wes Anderson make a like corny movie.
Ooh. Huh. Okay, what would be a good comic book property for Wes Anderson? This is an interesting question.
Who's Wes Anderson?
Grand Budapest Hotel,
Royal Tenenbaums,
Fantastic Mr. Fox,
Moonrise Kingdom.
Just imagine the chase scenes in a Wes Anderson.
Oh yeah,
Marvel
it's
movie.
all just a medium shot where everybody's in perfect profile, just running across a still frame.
That's like Civil War when they did they're running like in the underground tunnel.
Yeah,
and you could just tell that like Captain America, or all 3 of the guys are like on a track.
Yeah,
their feet are not matching up with the movement at all. Looks like they're ice skating.
But just like perfect still frame. Everybody's just in profile. It's just like this perfectly little arranged set. And they're just running awkwardly. Just like no music. They're just chasing each other. One of the I assume the villain is played by Edward Norton. He just says, "Hey, come back."
And Bill Murray's in it.
Bill Murray's in it, yeah. Oh. From Wes Anderson. Batman. Bill Murray is Thomas Wayne.
And he makes it like the Adam West Batman.
And it's just like a really, really awkward death scene where it's just like Bill Murray's like, "Hey, Bruce, I'm probably going to die. So here's a few things that you should know."
Wes Anderson would bring back the shark spray.
Did you see that they're trying to make John Hamm into the next Batman? I would like that. If he was like an Adam West kind of Batman. I feel like John Hamm would be a funny, like, comedy Batman.
Yeah. Like everybody, like he got big for Mad Men, where he's like this very serious performance, but like he really does do comedy really well.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
And if DC is going in the direction of just like, we're gonna make whatever kind of movie we feel like making, and if it doesn't connect to anything, then whatever, let's just throw shit at the wall, then they could make like whatever kind of like more serious like franchisey Batman movie they want, and then just make John Hamm into like an Adam West Batman.
Yeah, they know that. I think they should turn it around completely, because the Christian Bale or the Christopher Nolan Batmans were so serious and so good, like so dramatic. Mm-hmm. It's like the only way you can compete with that is to make something funny.
Yeah,
like you take something serious and turn it around, and then people won't judge you against straight up like Christopher Nolan Batman.
Yeah. I have like, being the huge fucking nerd that I am, I always have like these idealized versions of like the version of the movie that I would want to see in my head. But like, I do have a version of a Batman movie in my head that's like, it goes like 60% of the way in the Christopher Nolan direction, where it's like it has like serious characterization. It's not afraid to go a little bit darker, but like it's Gotham City is an inherently ridiculous place.
Yeah.
It's a terrifying crime-ridden hellscape, but it's also just silly and ridiculous. No real person would live here.
Right.
And like
It's Gotham City supposed to be like a specific place in the U.S., like near Kansas City?
I've heard it established that it's in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
So it's just saying Gotham City, New Jersey sounds weird, but like yeah, but like the way I think of it, Gotham should be based off of New York and the Warriors.
Well, yeah, I read somewhere before that Gotham is New York at night and Metropolis is New York during the day.
Yeah, that's not far off. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Yeah, especially New York in the day post like 1988.
Yeah.
Because like New York in the day before that point was still pretty much New York at night.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was a seedy place.
Jeez.
That's why all the Marvel writers were living in New York, and like around that period in time, the comics started getting darker because they were like, yeah, I live in a shithole apartment that I can barely afford, and I just got robbed again. So let's just write some really dark shit.
Yeah. And I'm tired of all the movies that are either in like LA or New York. I want to put a spin on it, like place these superhero movies in Mexico City or Munich. Or like Shenzhen, China.
Tokyo.
And like
Tokyo, there have been a few, but yeah, that would work too.
And it gets glossed over, but the Flash actually lives in like middle America. He lives in the heartland.
Like Kansas City.
Yeah, he lives in a made-up city that's supposed to be Kansas City, literally called Central City. So it's in the middle of America, which makes sense because then he can just run every which direction and not have to cross the entire country to get somewhere.
I'll be there in a jiffy.
I was looking through my plays on Spotify, and like one of the cities somebody was listening to was from Star City. I found out there's a bunch of towns called Star City that are like 500 people.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there are a few in the U.S. There's like one in Europe, one in England.
And then there's the one where Green Arrow lives. Except sometimes when he lives in Seattle.
Does he live in Seattle now? Are you still watching that show?
No, I don't watch the show. I tuned out after the first episode when it's just like they were just asking like, guy in a mask shooting people with arrows who would do something like that, and then he just like looks at them with this smug grin on his face and just like, I don't know, find him and you can ask. I'm like, everybody's just like, okay, it's you, got it. And it's like, I love Green Arrow as a character, but I like a specific version of Green Arrow where he has the fucking ridiculous Van Dyke goatee and he's like this gung-ho liberal,
right,
like shouting it and like lecturing Batman on wealth and equality, and just like that's the version of Green Arrow that I like. And they just wanted to do like Batman in a hood and he also kills people. So like I didn't get on board with that. But like in the comics, they've kind of pinged him around from like fictional Star City and real Seattle. Like since the 90s, they've been like, they just kind of send him back and forth to those two cities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I watched a good amount of that show, but they've already gotten to the point. Like after like season 3 or 4, they got into the point where it's like in the comics where there's no ramifications for anything, right? And I feel like we're about to get into this MCU, and what I mean by that is that basically if anyone dies, there's some magical thing that can either bring them back, or there's the multiverse and they can have someone come back through. It's Earth 2 Ian.
It's communist Superman.
Yeah, it's communist Superman.
They should just do a Red Sun movie. Just do communist Superman.
Yeah, and I feel like they're gonna do that. They're gonna start doing that in the MCU with this next Avengers movie, where they're gonna start doing time travel and bring everyone back. And actually, everyone was in the Soul Stone.
Go into an evil alternate universe where everyone has a goatee except Tony Stark.
Yeah, edged out perfectly.
Oh yeah, all of them have that exact style where it's like perfectly manicured with all the fine lines on it.
So
Except
funny.
for him, it's just clean shaven Robert Downey Jr.
So funny. So you brought up Spotify.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know if you know about Discover Weekly.
Yeah, I do.
Oh my God, I just started listening to that a couple weeks ago, and that is like, it's been life changing.
Yeah,
they just know what I
pick
like.
some pretty good predictions for you.
Yeah, it's
Like
pretty spot on.
I joined Pandora in like 2011 when that was getting big, and they can never get my music taste right. Spotify kind of does. I started paying for Spotify,
Yeah.
and my music's on there, of course, because you gotta put your music everywhere nowadays for people to hear it.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome, and I shoot, where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. I listen to Spotify and Pandora. Pandora, you end up listening to the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
And Spotify, they literally refresh whole new list every week.
Huh.
It's perfect. Have you tried it?
I have not.
And they have like all the genre and mood playlists too. You could find some pretty unique ones
Yeah.
that like sort like all these bands that sound sort of similar, but you wouldn't have guessed that.
So tell me a little bit more about your little music project that you do.
My music is Cheap Windows. I've been doing that since 2015. When my last band broke up, I was kind of tired of doing bands. We like all the bands I was in, we would play so many shows and not record enough for my taste. So Cheap Windows, I just wanted to say, okay, I'm not going to play that many shows. I'm going to focus on honing in my recording skills and put out a ton of albums. I've done 20 albums this year.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm very productive with this.
More than one a month.
Yes.
and the year's not. There's still 3 months left in the year.
Yeah, I still have 2 more in production. I might have like 3 or 4 more this year.
Jesus Christ.
So what kind of I'm sorry, I haven't listened to it yet, but what kind of music is it?
I use the term ambient as an overarching thing. I do a lot of different genres with Cheap Windows. Like I have jazzy albums. I have some that are more like straightforward indie rock. I've done like experimental noise albums too. Kind of runs the gamut of everything I'm interested in.
That's awesome.
The most recent Cheap Windows album was the self-titled Finally, and that's like dark piano rock.
Finally coming out with a self-title after 20 albums.
Yeah.
Usually that's the debut.
No,
not for this cowboy.
I wanted to like just make waters to like hone in my production skills, and now that I'm getting to a point where I'm confident, I was like, okay, now it's time for the self-title because this one's going to be representative of me.
Yeah. New Birth.
Yeah,
New Cheap Windows.
I played like 5 Cheap Windows shows total. That's not really the goal, but like I'll take up opportunities when my friends ask.
Yeah.
Like I've got that keyboard for shows. The last show I played was in April, and the venue, San Diego Content Partners, the guy who runs it, he puts projections behind every band, and he has like trippy visuals on CRT TVs below too.
Dude, awesome.
To mess with that, I had him put like a WWE compilation behind me.
Oh my God.
So it's like chill piano music and wrestling finishing moves.
Didn't you also do a show where you brought a vacuum on stage?
That was the same show.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so where was the show? Was it at a bar or something?
No, it's like kind of an underground like venue in City Heights. It's just in like a kind of business area.
Okay.
He lets bands practice there too.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Get the wrestlers on there. So funny.
Wait a minute. Was this like modern day wrestling compilations or like 80s like WWF stuff?
Like 90s and 2000s. He didn't know what to look for, so I just said, just type WWE compilation. And then like he pulled up like a 30-minute finishing moves one.
Just all knockouts. Are you guys into UFC at all?
Not really. No. I'm like,
I wouldn't
Ian
peg you guys for UFC people.
I've watched like one match. I don't know it that well. I've watched a few boxing matches. I like Joe Rogan's podcast, and he's involved with
Yeah.
MMA.
You watch that Elon Musk?
Yeah, I watched that whole thing.
That was crazy.
Yeah. I kind of like, like the clip that everybody took was him smoking weed, but he was getting onto more important stuff like the implications of like creating AI.
He didn't even inhale it.
Yeah.
It's like, who cares?
Yeah, he's not a weed smoker. He was saying, I usually don't because I think it hinders productivity. But like he also correctly recognized if Joe Rogan offers you weed, you got to take him up on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially since it's legal in California.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, it was legal. The dude's almost 50 years old, right?
Yeah.
He's like multi-billionaire. I think he'd do what he wants.
Yeah.
And he didn't even do it. Like you think about it,
He just
He
kind of
just
held
took
it up.
like a short puff, yeah.
yeah, he didn't even do it really.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just funny how the media works like that. But
now I'm just thinking of like, what if after that podcast was done recording, he basically went through that one episode of King of the Hill where he accidentally took a puff of a joint. Oh my God, I'm getting delirious. Another side effect of the marijuana poisoning.
oh my God.
I'm too high to drive. Just from accidentally puffing one like taking one hit off of a joint.
You're gonna OD.
He's just panicking. He starts shaking. I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
Weed's gotta become recreationally legal before like the federal government gets on board with it. I know that.
Yeah. And sometime down the road, maybe 10 or 15 years from now, I'm going to be walking through a Costco and I'm going to get a box of wine and like one of those big one of those big plastic tubs of like the off-brand cheese puffs.
Yeah.
It's just going to be that filled with weed.
Oh my
and it's
god.
going to be like $12.
You know, the cigarette
get those two and have myself a weekend.
The cigarette companies are losing traction in America with like how much cigarette taxes have been passed. Like they've gone overseas. So Marlboro and like Camel, they're gonna get back into it, but with marijuana. So you're gonna have like cheap joints at 7-Elevens from them.
I just don't want all the filters and shit and all the additives.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be bad.
Just give me a bucket of cheap weed. Like one of those giant buckets of margarine.
So I like how you go straight to getting a box of wine.
Getting a box of wine and a giant plastic tub of weed.
No bottle of wine.
Oh,
Getting
come
myself
on.
a box.
Oh, look at me. I drink wine from a bottle.
Look at me, so fancy with my $6 bottle of wine. I can't drink it straight from the bag. I'm not having it. You slapping the bag by yourself.
Yeah, I was telling one friend that when I was drinking more, like I just get a box of wine so I could get like drunk the easiest. And I said, like that's okay, but the optics of it sound like you're an alcoholic.
I mean, like, yeah, looking outside, looking in, it certainly sounds that way when you put it like that. But also, then you just grab a box of wine and run. Hey, I believe in bang for your buck. You spend less money on more wine. That's just smart business.
Jack is the thriftiest motherfucker ever.
Direct quote from me. I think this is my dad's favorite quote from me ever. I was telling him about like one time that I was like at school all day. I was like at Mesa Community College all day, and like I had a huge chunk of time between classes, but I didn't bother going home, and like I just wanted to go to the library and like work and like study and like maybe spend some time drawing because I'm not good at school. But like the entire time I was just out and about the entire day, and I had like this huge chunk of time, and I got really hungry because I forgot to pack food. And so like I get home at like 6 at night, like right around dinner time. And she's like, you didn't like go to the cafeteria or buy some food or anything? I was like, Dad, I was hungry, but I wasn't spending money hungry.
Oh my god.
And that is still my philosophy more or less to this day. It's funny, you get slightly more comfortable about spending money once you have it.
Yeah.
Like once I was like living in Boston and like I didn't have, like they stopped stocking the galley on the ship, so you were pretty much on your own for food most of the time. I'm working for tips, so I get tips every day that I work, and I get my walking around money, and then the rest just goes directly into my bank account, so I'm not touching that. But like I have this money in my pocket. I'm just going to go over to Faneuil Hall and get something to eat. I got more comfortable with spending money on food, but only so much. It's only a little bit of wiggle room.
It's a little wiggle room.
Nothing more than $10.
Are you ramen guy?
Hey, I can make something out of ramen, like with the leftover food that was still like with the leftover foodstuffs that we still had on the ship. Like we had like 100 packs of ramen, and that's what most people would eat at the end of the day, or like on the half-hour break that we had between sales. You would just like microwave like two things. You would just microwave a bunch of water and shove two things of ramen in there with the packets that give you the heartburn. But like I just decided like one day, it was like right when I was getting ready. It was like a couple days before I left, and I was just like, I was just trying to figure out something to make at the end of the day when we had just finished working, and we've all started drinking at like 8 o'clock because that's when we were done working and drinking started. We weren't responsible for people anymore. Yeah. And like I'm just looking through all these little cupboards and trying to find something to cook, and I find this giant box of ramen, and I take like 6 of these packets and I say, hey guys, I'm gonna make super ramen. You want some? And I just make like 6 things of ramen. I chop up like some like sausage hot dog things that we had. I fry those up with like some carrots and some peas. Like we had a bag of frozen vegetables. Yeah. So I put that in there. I got some like garlic, and I made a sauce with like we had like a thing of honey and a thing of soy sauce. So I made like sauce with garlic, honey, and soy sauce, and I threw that in there. I just did whatever the fuck I could, and I just threw everything into this ramen, and I just made super ramen.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And boy, oh boy, nothing makes a group of sailors love you more than if you cook for them after the cook has left.
Yeah.
Yeah, once we got to Boston, the cook left, so there was nobody making food for us anymore. They weren't stocking the kitchen anymore, so we were just like, well, I guess it's ramen forever. So I was just like, we're just gonna make this, and then,
So this sailboat was like a tourist boat, or
yeah. So when we were in the Bahamas, we were based out of Nassau, and then we would take like a boat full of people, like up to 24 people out, and like we would take them out sailing for 6 days. And we would be out, like, going to the out islands of the Bahamas, like Eleuthera or the Exumas, and like we would show them all these beaches and snorkeling and all these tourist sites and stuff like that. And then we would take them back on day 7, get the boat ready, and then do the whole thing again. But once we were in Boston, we were just doing day sails. So like the big ship would do 3 2-hour day sails throughout the day, and we would just take people out for a couple hours and then bring them back. And since nobody's spending the night, we can fit like 100 people on the boat, which we don't like to, because then there's no deck space. You have to you have to run like from place to place to get all this shit done, because you always have to be doing something to make this ship work, especially in Boston Harbor, where you have to like turn around so many times. You have to do a lot of sail handling.
Yeah.
So if you're having like 100 people on the deck, then it's gonna be frustrating trying to get around everybody to do what you got to do. But yeah, we would do 3 of those a day, and then like at the end, like on Saturday, we would do like one last sail from like 8:30 to 10:30, which meant that we weren't done working until 11.
right?
But that was the rum and revelry sale, which was a lot of fun. Which is like we do like rum tastings below deck. Like there's the bar that you have to pay for, but then you go down below deck and you get like free tastings of like all these different like exotic rums. And like for some reason, port wine, you could also have port wine.
Oh,
And like we would have a guy. We had 2 different guys who would come every other week. On and off, and they both came in period costume with instruments, and they would play sea shanties for everybody. And then by the end, they were just doing requests. So like as we were coming back into harbor, they would just be singing like John Denver or something. But like
that's awesome.
And that was a lot of fun if you were either working on the other boat, so your day ended at 8, so you could hop on this boat,
Right.
and go as a civilian, or it was your day off and you could just do it. It sucked to work that night cruise. It fucking ruled to just be another passenger.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a cool. Was that just a summer job?
Yeah, pretty much. And like, it's kind of open ended. Like if they ever, like, it's pretty common that like if they need people to help out taking the boat from one place to another and like fill in for a little while, then they'll call up people who used to work there. So if they call me up and I've got nothing going on, I'll go back. But like, yeah, I just did that for a couple months just to say I did it, really. And
That's awesome.
See some cool shit.
Go to the Bahamas?
Yeah, I snorkeled a shipwreck.
Dude, that's like a dream, bucket list thing.
Yeah, it was crazy. And like, yeah, I had to be supervising a bunch of drunk people the whole time, but it was
drunk in scuba diving?
Yeah, there was one particular guy that week who was just drunk the entire time.
How's your blood pressure? If you're drunk in scuba diving, you're
snorkeling. So
it's just
not
snorkeling.
going down deep.
Okay, going down deep.
No, the Bahamian water is only like, especially in that spot, it was only like 25 feet deep.
Okay.
And the water's so clear that you can just see the bottom from the top, really.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
got
so
it.
Just stick your head under the water and you can see the bottom. And
Got
like,
it.
This entire huge cargo ship that had just been like collapsed.
I was just thinking, if you're drunk in scuba diving, that'll really fuck you up, huh?
If when I ever go to the Bahamas, I want to see Pig Beach.
Oh, yeah. Be forewarned, though, there are imitation pig beaches.
Okay.
And they are just...
Yeah, I'll do my research.
They are covered in litter and just like domestic pigs that somebody just threw on there, and they will bite you.
Yeah.
The real pig beach, the pigs will bite you, but at least it's genuine. It's authentic.
It's the real place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like...
Is it like wild pigs?
Yeah, well, yeah, a couple decades ago, like they were trying to create like full-blown agriculture in the Bahamas. Like they still have like pineapple farms and stuff, but
Yeah.
most agriculture kind of came and went really quickly. And they were trying to grow livestock. And you can basically just grow like small groups of chickens and goats. That's all you can do.
Right.
But they would try to have like full-blown pig farms with like dozens or even close to 100 pigs. And when those farms inevitably failed within about 10 years, they just kind of left the pigs. They just packed up and left and abandoned the farm. And then the pigs got out and went all over this island. And so now it's a beach filled with pigs that have like it now.
And there's great photos of them swimming in the water at the Bahama
yeah.
beach.
And now it's been like several generations. So now the pigs are pretty much wild. But
Oh my god.
Yeah, it just kind of happened out of just a failure to create agriculture.
So Charlie, have you traveled lately, like overseas or U.S.?
I've traveled a lot this year. I started out in January going to Nashville for a wedding, and that was really cool. That was like, Nashville is such a cool place. Just all the live music.
Yeah,
like,
it's got so much music history.
We don't have any live music here. Like maybe a little, right?
We do. I don't think it's
it though, right?
I don't think it's promoted well. Like the dive bars, though, most of the shows that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And then there's Che Cafe.
But like they
which
have
is still kind of active
in Nashville. All the main bars, like you go to any main bar or like big deal bar here,
Yeah,
it's DJs, right? You go to a big deal bar in Nashville, and it's 3 stories, and each story has a different live music person.
Yeah.
And everyone's stoked. It's awesome. It was just like...
Yeah, I think they need to put more of the rock shows in downtown. Like, downtown's like all the club scene, and like the indie and punk and metal shows happen in North Park and City Heights here.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, it's kind of just a breath of fresh air. And it was cold as shit. It was really fucking cold there. And then I went to Vegas for a bachelor party. I went to Hawaii or Maui with my girlfriend in June. That was fun. I hadn't been to Hawaii since I was like 10.
And I've never been to Hawaii.
Yeah, me neither. We had a guest a few episodes ago. He had just gotten back from Hawaii, and there was like a big storm there. He was scared they were going to be stranded.
Yeah, that would be so screwed. Don't go to these tropical places in the fall.
No,
That's what
don't.
I hear.
Yeah.
Or near the fall, at least. And then, where else did I go? I went to Denver for literally 18 hours
Oh, wow.
Ooh, cool.
for a wedding.
We spent more time in Colorado and Rocky Mountain National Park. Those mountains are beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always so nice to go to Denver. I mean, it's kind of a bitch with the airport being so far away from everything.
Yeah.
And like especially away from all the stuff that you actually want to be near. Like all the mountains are on the freaking west side of Denver, and then like the airport is like way out east. It's just not very conducive.
There are some conspiracy theories about the Denver airport that there's like New World Order or Illuminati planning stuff under there.
Yeah, there's all this weird stuff that they're talking about. And my roommate is really into conspiracies. And I came back from the Denver trip, and he was like, so you went to the Denver airport? I was like, yeah. He's like,
Are you sure?
he's like, yeah. He's
Are
like,
you okay?
He's like, did
Hear
you
me
feel
out.
anything?
The Denver airport isn't real.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm later.
Okay, wait a minute. So I'm guessing he talks your ear off about these conspiracy theories.
Not all the time, because he knows that I just don't really give a shit too much about like I think they're interesting, but that's all I think of them.
All right.
Yeah.
You know
All
what
right.
I mean?
Okay, so what is the most interesting one that he's told you?
I don't know. He told me something about that there's like Chinese spies at UCSD that are posing as professors.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. I saw a 60 Minutes thing on Chinese espionage. Like, some people were investigated or even like tried, even though they were completely innocent.
Yeah.
How long ago
Yeah.
was this?
So this guy thinks they're guilty.
And that they do these things like UCSD or something, so they can get like a mild security clearance or something, or that they can influence
Yeah.
college students to become part of the Chinese
Yeah.
people.
He would probably hate my cell phone. It's made by Huawei, and these are banned for government employees.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because some people in the U.S. government think that Chinese government is spying using Huawei phones and Huawei cell towers.
Yeah, it's the second biggest cell phone manufacturer.
Yeah,
in the world.
they beat out Apple now.
Have you considered pretending to be a CIA agent in order to like feed false information to the Chinese? Just like fake some clearance and stuff like that. Just like make up some fake one-sided conversations between you and the president.
And people have like similar conspiracy theories about the Opera browser that they think it's being fed to the Chinese.
Too bad nobody uses it.
They picked the wrong browser.
Yeah, if Chrome was being, or Firefox, then we'd have a problem. Maybe that's why Internet Explorer is so slow. That's the Chinese are searching it.
It's so slow because you're not the only one using your exact browser window. There's also a Chinese person watching it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I haven't heard too many other conspiracy theories. I usually just kind of tone them out. Like, there's so many weird ones that are just like so crazy. But at this point, anything could be true. Like, I don't.
There's some weird ones like 5G death towers.
Yeah, I've found the best way to get a conspiracy theorist to stop talking to you about their conspiracy theories is to, instead of trying to rebuke them with logic, just trying to double down and like go even crazier than they are.
Yeah,
like they give you like some incredible like made up theory about the JFK assassination. You're just like, you think JFK was real? Oh, buddy, let me tell you something.
Yeah. Well, my favorite one and I don't know if you guys believe this or not, but my favorite one is that we never even landed on the moon. I'm an avid believer that we landed on the moon.
Yeah.
But I say that to some people, and even friends of mine, and they're like, "You think we landed on the moon?" Like,
yeah. So when somebody comes at you as a moon landing denier, you just got to be like, yeah. They're just like, we never landed on the moon. You're just like, you believe in the moon?
Or like, start your own conspiracy theory. You think the moon landing was fake? We were there the whole time. We were developing a warfare base. Space warfare.
we went to the moon. You know why? Oil.
there's oil on the moon and bananas.
So
the moon is a banana republic.
My take on the moon landing, I haven't read that much into it. I think we actually went there. The footage, there was no way we sent back footage in like the 1960s. Like, the computers were less powerful than like our phones by like a 10 times magnitude. Like, they had so little power and so little ability to transmit.
Yeah, but like they were able to. They would have been. Would you have really needed a computer in order to transmit it? Because people were transmitting television signals at that point. You just need a big ass antenna.
But like 50,000 miles, I don't know. I guess I'll just have to read into it.
I mean, like, I'm guessing that NASA had some kind of like huge fucking satellite. I mean, like some sort of like big receiver on Earth in order to receive the signal that most receivers wouldn't be able to pick up. So yeah, my first week in the Bahamas, we had this married couple on the ship as passengers, and they were telling us all about their kids, and 3 out of 4 of their adult children are flat earthers.
Oh my god!
3 out of 4.
Come on.
And like they were just heartbroken. Like they didn't know what they did wrong as parents to let that happen. And I was just like, there's really nothing you can do. And like my good friend who got me into the job and I were both just like, we're both pretty reasonable people, and we kind of roll our eyes very aggressively at the idea of flat Earth theory. But like we're just talking to them about like the reasons why people fall into these kinds of beliefs, and you can't really talk them out of it because like ultimately a conspiracy theory is a reaction to the realization that that the world is full of chaos and shit just happens sometimes, and sometimes there isn't a reason or the reason isn't satisfying. And so some people can kind of reconcile that fact, and some people turn to some sort of like secret order or secret idea, like working behind the scenes, making all of these things happen, because even though it's this impossible, terrifying force, at least it tells them, oh, everything is happening for a reason. There's a one thing that I can point to and say that's why this happened. And it's like, it's a way to rationalize the irrational when you can't handle something being irrational.
Like the thing I think about, like with all the government conspiracy theories, is just think about your job and like either how bad you are at your job or how bad your coworkers are. Now, the same thing happens in government. They don't have like
watching
the
it happen
wherewithal
in real time
to take this stuff that far.
And now we've got confirmation for that because it's playing out on Twitter every single day.
Yeah, Trump is telling us the truth all the time.
Even if he's lying, he's really telling us the truth about how incompetent government is.
Yeah.
But we were just telling them like, and they were talking about like how their kids always got like really good grades in school and can say all these incredible, like intelligent, insightful things, and yet they still believe this incredibly stupid and irrational thing, and there's no way to talk them out of it no matter what evidence they have. And like fighting a conspiracy theorist with evidence is never going to work because they have the number one get out of get out of evidence free card of rhetoric. That's just what they want you to think. So any evidence that you present them with is just fabricated by the conspiracy to hide the conspiracy. There's no way to win over a conspiracy theorist with evidence.
Yeah.
So even an intelligent person can believe these things if they really want to, and then there's no talking them out of it.
Or like a doctor or like another qualified individual, like debunking it, they'll just say like, "Oh, that's a paid shell. He's paid by the New World Order."
I wonder how much they're paying him. Yeah, it's like always, there's always a reason why the evidence you give them doesn't count, which is why you cannot reason with a conspiracy theorist. The only way to beat them in an argument is to go even crazier than them. They say the Earth is flat and there's a secret cabal hiding it. You just got to say, the real Earth was destroyed in 1968. We're on a spaceship. This is a skybox. All of this is an illusion.
Yeah.
But also, the thing that drives me craziest about flat Earth theory is, okay, so the Earth is flat and there's some sort of secret cabal that's hiding it and convincing us that it's round.
Right.
To what end? What do they get out of convincing us that the Earth is round? What is to be gained from that?
Exactly. There's so many things like this that people would lock onto that are just like, I don't know. They just it's like a white knuckle grip of like some idea or theory that doesn't affect them or anything that they do.
Yeah.
And it's like, so what are you really hiding from?
Yeah.
And a lot of these conspiracy theories just boil, like you can really just shatter them by just asking cui bono. Like, who gets anything out of convincing you that the Earth is round?
Yeah, some of them are just bored and they're just like trying to make their life exciting, I guess.
Yeah.
You're trying to go to the upside down?
Yeah. And like that ties into like, like finding a way to rationalize the irrational. It's just like, once you have convinced yourself that you know something that nobody else knows, or that you're the iconoclast who is telling people things they don't want to know and don't want to believe, it's like now suddenly you're the main character of a story instead of just another person living on this ridiculous rock. It's always just it always just comes back to making you feel more comfortable after you've come to the realization that shit just happens and we're all gonna die.
Yep. Jeez.
Yeah.
Getting deep here on Oh Well You Bastards.
Okay, wait a minute, guys. I finally figured it out. Wes Anderson should direct a movie about Clark Kent. Superman never shows up. Never shows up. It's just a movie about Clark Kent.
It keeps you on the edge of like, oh, is it going to be Superman? No.
And it isn't that there is no Superman. Like, people mention Superman. Superman is clearly a presence in the world of this film, but he never shows up.
He's on the news, like talked about on the news.
Yeah, but it's just not even like actual footage of Superman in the movie, like even on TV, like on the news, waving to cameras and stuff like that. It's just Clark Kent, and it's never even like directly acknowledged that he's Superman. It's just his life.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I got the groceries, Lois.
Smallville already focused on like Clark Kent a lot, but then he did turn into Superman over those seasons.
Yeah, and like it got really dumb. Like it started off kind of dumb, but in a fun way. Like what if Dawson's Creek, but it was about young Superman. It's dumb, but at least it's in a fun way. It's a fun idea. But like then it got like as the seasons went on, they were just like, all right, let's have him do all of the things Superman ever did before he becomes Superman.
Yeah.
Like he fights Doomsday and Darkseid before he ever even becomes Superman. He fights Brainiac before he ever even becomes Superman. Just like everything Superman has ever done before he ever puts on the costume.
They're like, look, we didn't exactly choose Superman, so we had to write a whole lot ourselves. Yeah. We want to just take the writing that's already there.
Yeah.
And then like make it so that he doesn't put on an outfit. He just wears a blue sweatshirt.
Yeah. And now they're doing the same thing with Batman. They're doing
Gotham. I hate.
When I heard that they were doing a show about James Gordon called Gotham, I was thinking like, oh, okay, so they're gonna do like Gotham Central. Like, if you guys don't know, it's a comic book that's like set like during the main like time frame of the DC universe where Batman already exists and is an established figure, and it's just about like it's like Law and Order in Gotham.
Right.
And they're dealing with like regular crime, they're dealing with like organized crime and like petty criminals and murder cases and stuff like that. And then they also have to deal with like Mr. Freeze and the Joker. And like Batman never really like makes a major appearance. He always like shows up every once in a while. Says like at most like 2 sentences, and you never like see him in full. He's always like in shadows, and he's just more like just like this presence than an actual character. And it's mostly just focusing on like all these detectives trying to like keep up in a city as batshit insane as Gotham.
like, boots
Batshit insane. I wasn't even trying for that.
Boots on the ground kind of storyline. Kind of like it reminds me of ODST for Halo.
Yeah. And it's just about ordinary people trying to keep up in this ridiculous world where people dress up as bats and punch clown criminals. And that's the kind of show that I would have wanted to see, but instead it's just Smallville again, but darker. And dumber.
Did you guys see the photos of Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker? It just came out today.
No,
I didn't. I saw something from like a week ago where he was just like a sad man in a cardigan.
It's a little more. Maybe I can pull it up while we're on
Did they
here.
like put him in the makeup and everything?
Yeah. Let me see.
Cool.
Yeah, he had the makeup. He looks like he look. You know those clowns that are like ragdoll clowns.
Oh.
It kind of looks like one of those, I think. They didn't do any of the colors of the normal Joker. No purple. He has green hair, but no purple suit, which is good, I think, because just trying to redo the purple suit again, and like the gangster Joker from Suicide Squad had like those leather pants.
Oh my god! The less said about Joker and Suicide Squad, the better.
Right.
The fucking giant purple alligator trench coat.
Yeah,
Just like,
get out of here.
The tattoo that says "damaged" across his forehead. Just
Like, hey, could you write it out for me? Could you please?
I liked CJ's interpretation when we had him on the podcast. If he had the reins for a Batman movie, he would want to make the Joker look like Prince. Ooh. Huh.
Yeah, he's got the photo in hand now, listeners.
It's different. Cool. Yeah. It's like a red suit.
Yeah, he's got like a red suit.
Kind of a cool look.
He looks kind of messed up, kind of like fucked up clown guy.
Yeah.
He looks more clowny, and I like the clowny thing. Like, why are you trying to make him a gangster?
Yeah.
Like, why do you make him so urban? Like, this guy's a comic book character.
Yeah. Just let him have a ridiculous style all his own that doesn't quite that's kind of anachronistic and kind of never really.
Yeah. I feel like you know what? This just came to me. The gangster Suicide. Have you seen Suicide Squad, Ian?
no.
Well, so you've seen Heath Ledger's Joker, though, right?
Yeah, I have.
So that Heath Ledger Joker doesn't care about what he looks like. He has the raggedy suit, but it's like they're like, "Oh, look at this raggedy ass suit." And he's like, "It wasn't cheap. You bought it."
Just to make a point.
I mean, just to make a point, but he didn't really care what everyone else was wearing. The Suicide Squad Joker, I think, is one of those people. One of those, if you listen to Chris D'Elia's podcast, one of those CUDA kind of people that like has all the bling.
Oh yeah, he had
like,
bling,
tattoos.
He had a grill.
Like he cares about what people think of him, and he's wearing things that other people wear. Like the Joker doesn't give a shit what everyone else is wearing.
Yeah.
Chris D'Elia has his own podcast. I've only seen him as a guest on others.
Oh, dude, you gotta congratulations! Podcast is the shit.
Okay, now I have something new to watch. Thank you.
Yeah, you gotta. You'll die laughing.
Yeah. But honestly, like I would have like respected their like. I would totally respect it if they just tried to still like dress him as like a 40s gangster in a purple suit with like a big floppy hat and just like a big purple suit and just like say like, yeah, I'm dressing like a gangster in the 40s. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I don't care.
It's 2018. I got a Tommy gun. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, and I like
I think it's funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you gotta like the whole old school New York thing where he always wears a suit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Like that's like that old New York kind of shit.
Yeah. And like, could you imagine the Joker showing up anywhere in like a t-shirt and sweatpants and some Uggs?
No, but freaking Suicide Squad Joker would.
Honestly, I think he would like be dressed to the nines most of the time, and then he would show up once because he thought it would be funny.
Yeah.
I think that would be something the Joker would do, but
jeez.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Zack Snyder's not a thing anymore.
Yeah. But like I am interested to see where this like Martin Scorsese Joker movie goes, because like it's supposed to be a Joker origin story, but like my thinking has always been like the Joker shouldn't have like a pinned down origin story. Like even stories like The Killing Joke, where they give you his backstory, say like, yeah, this might be how it is, but even he isn't sure at this point.
Yeah.
So like if they are creating like their own origin story, like I am generally opposed to that idea, but I'm interested to see where this goes because it looks interesting.
It looks very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
and where will we go if we never try anything new?
Right?
Yeah.
Got a lot of movies to look forward to.
Yeah, man. Still looking forward to Hellboy.
Oh yeah, new Hellboy.
Yeah, they announced it like a year ago. There hasn't been a trailer or anything. Just that one picture of David Harbour looking like red painted Glenn Danzig.
Yeah, you know they're behind on the new Stranger Things season. And my girlfriend's like obsessed with that show, right?
Right.
She's like, how come there's no Stranger Things yet? And I'm like, I'll bet you it's because those fucking kids are all famous now, and they want more money for being on the show. And I bet you there's contract disputes.
Oh yeah,
They're
definitely.
in demand now.
Right?
Yeah. The thing though is like I heard that when they were first creating like the first season of Stranger Things, it was supposed to be that each season was its own like isolated story,
Like an analogy,
like an
anthology.
Anthology, yeah. And so like what ended up being like, you know, the season 2 tease of like him puking up the slug into the sink at the end of the first season was supposed to be just like a wink to the camera at the end of an 80s horror movie where it's like, it's over, or is it? And then it's over.
Right.
But like instead it became a tease for season 2 because it got so goddamn popular that they were just like, well, I guess we should just keep going with this. And it's like, on one hand, yeah, I like all those characters and I like the storyline and I like all these ideas and it's a cool show, but I kind of do wish that they had just bit the bullet and just been like, all right, and now a new thing.
Well, I agree. I like the first season. I kind of lost interest in the second season. I would have liked an anthology sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's always tough with these shows that have like the kids and it becomes that big because you can't have a 10-year show like that where it's based around kids finding something.
Yeah,
crazy.
we learned that lesson with Harry Potter.
Yeah. Like you can't do the 10-year freaking. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
You could have a 10-year show. I mean, even look at 2.5 Men. It's like,
oh my god,
it's like
it
three.
It was called 2.5 Men until it was just 3 men.
Now it's like 3.25.
Yeah, 'cause he got huge.
Yeah, he's fucking huge.
2 and a jacked man.
It's like 3 minus 1 plus another.
Oh yeah, didn't they just like kill off Charlie Sheen's character?
Yeah, they're just like, well, he's not here anymore, guys.
Yeah.
Dad got weird. Or no, that's not Dad. It's Uncle.
And they just made his name Charlie because there was no way he was going to answer to a fake character name.
Yeah.
You know there was no way he was going to answer to any name other than Charlie on that set.
Yeah, I'm an actor.
I'm an actor. Every character I play has to have my name, or else
Yeah.
I just will not realize they're talking to me.
I'll just black out.
like Tracy in 30 Rock.
Yeah. And
All the characters he plays on the show.
Yeah, most of his lines on that show I heard were ad-libbed because he just refused to learn the lines. Which honestly worked out because everything he said on that show was hilarious. People are booing him just like, I don't care, I'm not afraid of you, I know most of you are ghosts.
Oh my god, dude.
I miss 30 Rock. It was hilarious. There was a joke like every 20 seconds.
Yeah.
It's almost like hard to keep up. Like you can't binge watch it because you laugh too much. And then
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
it's always good on repeat watches because you pick up on like more jokes on every watch.
oh my god.
You have to turn yourself in. It's going to be all right. You know, you're talking a lot of sense. Yes. You have to face the consequences of what you've done. You're not making sense anymore.
Oh, you guys. Well, what else has been going on? What else we got?
Jack, your art?
Yeah, I've just drawn all the live long day.
Are you painting or are you drawing?
Drawing, like, yeah, I have mostly on a pen tablet, like, you know, just so that I can draw onto the computer. I was drawing a little bit when I was on the boat, but it was hard, A, because of the work hours, and B, because it's hard to draw with the waves rocking your boat. But I found a way, so I got a little bit of drawing in while I was on the boat, on paper and such. But I couldn't really do it when I was, I couldn't really do any of like my more serious like digital art while I was there. So when I got home, I just kind of like got back into the swing of things, and now I'm pretty much drawing every day. I do my webcomic Solar, and
you
then
got a comic?
Yeah.
Plug the comic.
Yeah, I do sometimes, not as much as I should because I'm bad at it. But yeah, it's Solar, SOULAR, and you can find it at solarcomic.tumblr.com. I still put a pin in this of trying to get a website. I have no idea how to make a website.
It's like $30 a month anyway. You might as well
you
just
could
do a
Squarespace
Tumblr.
or Wix. You could do that on your own.
Yeah.
You could do that on your own, but they're charging you for it.
Yeah.
You could just do Tumblr for free.
Yeah, exactly. So at least for the time being, that's good enough. It's, website is a goal on my Patreon. If I'm making a certain amount of money per page, then I'll start getting a website set up.
Yeah,
But
Charlie, I'll send you a link to his Tumblr.
You should start doing a like a YouTube, so you just talk about your drawings. You think about that?
Yeah, I think Jack would be a good YouTuber. I'd like to see like movie and TV reviews for you once they come out.
Yeah, you could do reviews, and then you tell people about your comic book and how these are just coming out of my mouth right now, like this, But you could tell people, oh, you see, this is the main character of Solar, and this is how I usually draw it. Like we all haven't watched those videos of other people going, oh, as you see, Spider-Man is usually drawn this way.
Yeah.
And
People kind of like the behind the scenes thing, like for cheap windows. Since I have like long and specific song titles, I did like a thing on Instagram where I would write a paragraph of how I came up with that song title and the story behind it, and people really dig that.
Yeah, freaking pour your heart out. People so buy into that. My girlfriend was just telling me about, how she kind of she would like to be one of those blogger girls on Instagram. And I was like, yeah, that, you can do that. And the picture has to be good, right?
But it could be taken with an iPhone.
But more importantly, exactly, is the paragraph. This is my heart and soul. And
there's so many of those like health bloggers or fitness bloggers or all sorts of stuff.
You can't get away with just photos unless you're like a real artist.
You got to have a personality behind it, or fake a personality if you're going that angle.
Yeah, you just write it out.
So you're like a YouTuber. Have you guys been monetized, or have you gotten taken away? Like I've heard of that with YouTubers, like they lost money.
So the Longhairs have a YouTube. So right now, you can only monetize your YouTube channel if you have I forget how many subscribers you need. I think you need like 1,000 subscribers minimum. Or people have to watch like 4,000 hours of your content per year. Or it's like 1,000 hours a week. It's something that's like seems really crazy for someone to just start a YouTube channel and try and make money.
But for the ones with millions, they make some decent money.
Yeah, they make some decent money. And
especially if you have like a Patreon and stuff like that to go alongside it.
Yeah, and the Patreon thing is so funny that, I feel like ever since that guy reached out to Casey Neistat, that has started making Patreon like a bigger deal. Or have you known Patreon for a long time?
I've had one for like about 2 years now.
Okay, well then never mind.
Yeah, one good example of Patreon, there's a socialist podcast I listen to called Chapo Trap House, and they make a really good income from Patreon alone. Like they get $100,000 a month, like split between them.
Yeah, I actually started listening to Chapo Trap House, but like I started on like the episode where they're like ripping into conservative editorial comics.
Yeah,
and then I listened to the one where they're talking about Ben Shapiro's novel. I'm guessing you've heard it.
I've heard like the Ben Shapiro hate. I haven't like heard that episode.
His novel is something else. It's it's a trip. Yeah, just look up Ben Shapiro, True Allegiance, and Chapo Trap House will probably be the first result.
Yeah.
But yeah, they make most of their money just off of Patreon.
Yeah.
Huh.
They make an income from that, and like I've seen like other interviews that Felix Biederman from that podcast has been on. He says, yeah, with all the money we make there, I started feeling bad about that as a socialist. So I started like donating a lot of it.
Yeah, right. The socialist podcast making millions of dollars.
It's nice if you are like, if you make enough money that it makes you feel guilty as a socialist.
Yeah.
That's probably a good place financially.
But yeah, it's better to do like something creative and like be paid for it than to like slog away at an office job where you're not like making a difference.
Yeah, and that's why I've started taking commissions that I'm not super proud of privately. Nobody will ever see them and know that they're me.
Commissions on what? Like on your comic books?
No, like just like people want me to draw something for them.
Oh, okay.
And like I'll say, all right, this much for black and white, this much for color, this much for additional characters, stuff like that.
Okay.
And yeah, I've done a few that I was happy with that I like, signed my own name to. And then the rest is people willing to pay for certain other things that they want drawn.
Wow. And so we'll leave it right there.
I don't sign my name to them. I'm not proud of them, but I got my paycheck. Coming up next on Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe.
Yeah, jeez Louise. Well, so you could do a lot of stuff. There's, obviously if you're creating content, like all of your comics and your drawings are content. So in turn, if you just turn the camera on while you're drawing something and just kind of talk like we're talking now, like this is content. Like it's all just putting more stuff into the pile, right?
Yeah, we got a good start with the podcast to like plug some of our other stuff and all of our friends' stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah, I like we kind of always stress like anytime that somebody comes on the podcast, we just tell them, no, please plug yourself. They're like, are you sure it just seems tacky? I'm like, dude, why else would you be on a podcast? Just tell us about stuff that you do.
Yeah, eventually gonna need some ads for this thing.
Yeah, we've had a running joke of like that we have sponsorships brought to you by Casper Mattresses
And Dollar Shave Club.
Yeah, Dollar Shave Club and MeUndies.
This episode brought to you by MeUndies.
I need to start looking into real sponsors soon. I haven't gotten around to it yet.
We've like talked about getting like local sponsors because we talk about local businesses and then we weave that into the joke of the sponsors. Just like brought to you by Yesenia's Taco Shop.
Brought to you by Los Dos.
So all I need to do is like set aside an afternoon of like emailing local businesses or like going and talk and see if there's a manager there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna go and hit the bricks and talk about podcasts.
Look, we got a podcast show we do in the death dungeon of our basement. the murder cave.
Wait, no, don't hang up. Oh, shit.
I'm sorry, you do it in a what?
In a murder cave. I'm sorry, is this on? I'm sorry, are you driving through a tunnel? It's a dark, dank dungeon filled with cobwebs under our house. Hello? Oh, shit, he hung up.
So
So
sponsorship is like pretty tolerated in like podcasting where it's not in like certain music and other arts.
Because it's just people talking into a mic. They have to keep it running somehow.
And yeah, you give out podcasts for free, so like you need to get like some money for it if you turn it into like a full-time endeavor. And like I like how a lot of podcasts will just turn it into a joke. Like they'll take one line from the script and then make this whole bit out of it.
Oh yeah, my brother and me, like half the time the goofiest part of the episode is the ads.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, guys. Dude, I can't wait to get some ads going on this podcast, or at least the Longhairs podcast that I'm on every week. Because then, funding helps, right?
Yeah.
Funding is always good.
If we get some funding, we'll probably be doing every week. We take like breaks here and there.
Yeah.
I guess.
So does this come out like does this come out in a few weeks, or do you guys do it right when you record them?
We usually release like 2 days after we record. I edit pretty fast. Since we're doing 3 this week, there might be a longer break. Like put this on Friday.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, but like we recorded 3 podcasts this week. So yeah, the ones with Giannis, the one with Maya, and this one were all recorded within like, what was it, 4 days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys have any local celebrities come on? Or anyone that has a little high profile or something?
No, we've thought about that. Like, I want to start reaching out to touring bands and see if a member wants to be on the podcast. It's been friends so far.
I really want to get Corky from Corky's Pest Control.
That he could be your sponsor.
1-800 Bill Howe on Oh Well You Bastards.
You guys got to
I'm gonna get pissed off when he shows up and he's not a cartoon.
The White Glove guys. Those guys are. Guys seem like they'd be down for a podcast.
Or we get the guy from Jerome's.
Oh yeah, Jerry Jerome.
Yeah.
He would have
Jerome's right down the street. I'm gonna go down there and demand to speak with him.
He would have a good podcast voice, I feel like.
Yeah, he has a natural
He's a good presenter.
Radio voice.
Yeah. That would be awesome. You have a really good voice. You have a really good voice for talking on the podcast. Like right when you first opened your mouth today, I was like, oh, Jack's really got that radio voice.
I've been told that. I still just can't stand the sound of my own voice most of the time. Listening back to the podcast has made it easier, but like
everybody thinks their voice sounds like kind of nasally on recordings.
Yeah, and like I think I've even brought it up on the podcast before. It's because you hear your voice differently than other people do.
Yeah,
and so the recording is actually what other people hear, and that's always been disconcerting to me because it's so different.
Yeah,
and I found out the reason is because like when you hear it, your voice is resonating from inside your body and it's resonating through your bones. So
Yeah.
it creates a different like version of the sound that you're hearing that nobody else hears.
Exactly.
So like I get used to this version of my voice that I'm hearing right now, and then I hear it played back. I'm like, what? Wait, what? No, stop it.
I've
Yeah.
tried to audition for reading audiobooks.
Yeah. Oh, that was good.
And I think Jack should get into it.
Yeah, but that voice is tough to maintain.
In
for
a
200
world.
pages.
Yeah, they want a very specific voice. They don't want like my natural voice at all.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Every time I hear my natural voice, I'm like, who the hell is this little bitch? That's like my go-to. I'm like, fuck this guy.
Who's
I'm
this
glad I don't
mid-raging
sound like him.
twerp beta guy?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
Well, I'm glad I don't sound like him.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that.
Intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He
Can
auditioned
I-
to read a book on intermittent
Can
fasting.
I get you involved in intermittent fasting? You can look like a
This
total
regimen
douchebag
will
in
change
2
your
weeks.
life. It will be easy. In no time at all, you will see the results.
Terry Crews does it.
You won't wither away if you don't if you don't work out along with fasting.
You won't pass out like your friend who tried intermittent fasting and the ketogenic diet did.
Oh my god, guys.
That's the big fat.
Yeah, but like I have like we're working on another project that's kind of still in production right now. It's another podcast. It's an audio drama, so it's like a scripted thing with like voice actors and stuff. So it's more of a production than this, where we just kind of like sit down and talk off the cuff. But like I have enjoyed being able to like, you know, kind of flex my voice actor muscle a little bit more. Like I've done a couple of gigs here and there, but like I actually got the idea for this from when I did a couple of bit parts on, like, I was just looking for like small voice acting gigs on the internet, and I found like somebody else was doing an audio drama podcast, and like I just sent an audition tape, and not a tape, but like
Right.
just a clip.
MP3.
Yeah, I sent an audition MP3, you know, being correct these days, and then I got a couple of bit parts, and I did all the different voices, and then I sent it back, and I was like, huh, maybe I could just like make one of those. And so I started like writing it, and I got other people on board, and so now we have like a voice cast, and we have people writing episodes and shit. So yeah, now
That's awesome.
Yeah, now we've got like 3 episodes that are like currently in various stages of like editing, and have a couple of voice actors that still need to be recorded. But like, yeah, it's underway. So I'm looking forward to that. It's called Distant Stars. It's kind of like a Star Trek inspired sci-fi audio drama. And, yeah. And so that's something that I'm kind of plugging away on slowly but surely. It's a lot to edit. It's a lot to put together. It's a lot of different recording sessions to schedule. It's a lot to write.
So where do you think you guys get the creative bone from? Do you think it's from our Cairncross side, or do you think that's coming from your mom's side?
Well, there's not a lot known about our mom's side, because she was adopted, and she never really expressed any interest in like tracking down her birth parents.
Yeah.
But like
Mom had some musical talent that like she didn't really pursue. She could still play piano a little bit, I think, and she bought a flute recently. Her dad, our grandfather, like he's a trained pianist, but
Okay.
he was the one who adopted her.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that it's just a skill then passed on.
yeah.
Yeah, and I got stuck in piano lessons when I was a kid. I left it for a few years and then started playing again in high school.
Yeah.
I don't know where the creative juices come from, because
Yeah.
our dad doesn't really
Like
do that.
I've talked to people in the family, especially Mom, which is weird because this isn't her side of the family, but she's the first one to say it. She says that it's attributed to OW, you know, to old Oscar Cotton. But like
Who's that?
our great grandfather.
Is that our great?
That's on Joan's side.
Oh, that's on Joan's side. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah. So yeah, it was Grandma Joan's great. It was her grandfather. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
But,
yeah.
Yeah, but he wrote, you know, he did a lot of writing. He was also a real estate developer here in San Diego,
Yeah.
and had this crazy illustrious life where he did all these things and wrote all these books and
We
short
still
stories
have
and
a
stuff.
real mahjong set from him with the ivory,
Oh yeah, with authentic ivory, which is
which is
it's haunted by real elephant ghosts.
Oh God.
Yeah, so I've heard that be attributed as like where it comes from, but I just, you know, there's a lot of different places that it comes from. So it's kind of hard to pin it to just one place. You are as much as you're the accumulation of things that you were born with, you're also the accumulation of things that happen to you. So like everything influences you as you create things. So you're not just the accumulation of like anything that came before you. You're the accumulation of everything you've come into contact with since you were born. So it's a lot of different factors that's kind of hard to track and pin down. Any one thing is like the source of it all.
Right. Yeah. I was just kind of interested to see.
Yeah, Charlie. So, like, I think of like YouTubing and podcasting as creative. Have you tried like other types of creative pursuits, like art, music? Do you play any instruments? Writing.
I've always been somewhat of a writer. And a talker, I guess. Like I write how I talk.
Yeah.
And
I kind of fall into that habit too. And I think usually, like, you know, if you're writing fiction, you're writing dialogue, then it helps.
Yeah.
I've gotten some compliments on my writing, but like my writing voice was developed before my talking voice. Like this has made me more talkative, this podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Usually you're pretty quiet.
Yeah, I was pretty shy, quiet, reserved for like most of my childhood. And,
Okay.
like, leading up into early adulthood. This has like brought me out of my shell.
That's good. And you know, these podcasts are just fun to do, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. This podcast is just shooting the shit, like talking
shoot
about
the
whatever
shit.
we want to with our
We
friends.
go to strange places with it.
You just record what you're talking about. Hopefully one day you get
Yeah.
paid to do it.
So what? I haven't listened to the Longhairs podcast. What is it about?
Well, usually they talk about we'll have guests on kind of the same way. Sometimes we do just the guys. There's 4 kind of main guys, including myself at the Longhairs, and a lot of times we get a guest. I do that. I reach out on social media to potential people to have on, and they all have to have long hair, like
So like surfers and skaters and such.
any kind of guys. A lot of models and workout guys. There's a lot of workout guys that have long hair, and
Oh yeah, that's true.
kind of have something. Those people are more invested on social media because, you know, skaters and surfers and stuff, they're kind of more like earthy, like away from social media, or they're having someone else do the social media for them.
Yeah.
So we'll get these workout guys, and they're all really cool, and we'll have them on. We'll talk about their business, whatever else about their life, get to know them, because we don't know any of these people.
Yeah.
We don't know them at all, really. We try and look up some stuff and see what they're about, but and then we talk about their hair.
What they do for grooming.
Yeah, well, like okay, so you've had long hair for 5 years. Like, you had to make a commitment to grow it out for 5 years, or even 3 years. Yeah, you know that it's like having a pet. Like, it's like a full-on extra thing.
Yeah, I had long hair for a while. I had I think at the end it was like I was cutting the sides for a while.
Yeah.
And letting the top grow out, because like my hair grows out at the sides in a really ridiculous way. So I tried to like stave that off for as long as possible. Like, the top was like 2.5 years. Yeah. And then the rest was like a year and a half.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So it got pretty long, and then when I got the job to go down sailing in the Bahamas, I was like, it's gonna be hot and it's gonna be windy. I don't know if I want all this hair. So I cut it all off, and I kept it for a while just because I just liked looking at it, because I'd never had hair that long before. So I just kept it in a bowl for a while and like messed around with it.
The longest my hair got was like down to my shoulders. I was an emo kid in high school, so I had that and like bangs in front of my face.
Yeah, of course.
But like, unlike the other emo and scene kids who were straightening it and styling it, it just got unkempt for me.
Yeah.
Like, it started getting curly once it got to a certain length, just the ends.
Did you guys go to Point Loma or Mission Bay?
We went to High Tech High. I went to International, and Jack went to Media Arts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But when I got down to the Bahamas, like half the guys had long hair, and so I was like, it was fine. It didn't really look that good on me. I couldn't wear it.
Yeah.
But like, and then when we got to Boston, it was the first mate who has this like perfect lion's mane.
Yeah.
Like, not super long, just shoulder length, but it's like that, like
the mane.
It's dark brown hair that's been in the sun so long that it's become blonde, and it's just like powerful and righteous long hair. And then it's like our bosun has like, you know, kind of like wild curly brown hair, like dark brown hair. And then like my buddy Lincoln, who was the one who got me into this, he has like, you know, just like slightly longer than shoulder length, like silky black hair, just like all of them look majestic. And like, At least had just gotten a haircut, so I didn't look like a mess. So like the four of us were just walking around Boston at night, and we're just walking along, and then some lady is walking past us with her friend, and she just looks back at us, and I just hear her say like, God, I want to talk to those guys so hard. Do they just have conversations about their hair? And then we just keep walking, but we're laughing our asses off in the crosswalk. Just like, yeah, pretty much.
I guess
Oh
we
my
don't
God.
have to prepare for this podcast as much as you guys do. We have a lot of people we know well, so
Yeah.
you could just automatically talk for 2 hours.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
To talk to someone that you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the podcast it's fun, and then we usually talk about this event we have coming up in March 16th of 2019. We are trying to break the world record, the Guinness World Record for most hair donated in 24 hours.
Cool.
Nice.
It's going to charity, a company or an organization called Children with Hair Loss. So like they make wigs for free for like kids who get like alopecia or cancer or whatever the case may be. And so we're trying to get like literally 2,000 people to the Port Pavilion over there by Petco Park, kind of.
Yeah.
Downtown. And they're going to have a freaking huge, we're going to have like 20, 30, 40 hair cutters. People are just going to come in, chop that hair off, throw it in the bin, and like next.
Boom, on to the next one.
Yeah, on to the next one.
And so you guys are like just putting that together and like trying to make that the world record.
Yeah, so it's been kind of on the calendar for like 3 or 4 years, and now it's because they started the company 2014.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, okay, well if we're gonna do it, like we'll give ourselves till 2018, and then 2018 came around. They're like, I think we need another year.
One more game.
And then they went on Shark Tank and got a little help from Shark Tank.
Cool.
And so that's gotten a little more, people to come around and see the business and see the cause. So if you guys know any long hairs or people with long hair, women or children, it doesn't matter who it is.
Listeners in San Diego, if you have long hair, be there.
Yeah.
The
Great
what
Cut.
what was the place and date again?
It's called The Great Cut, and you can go to thegreatcut.us to learn more and sign up.
Yeah.
It's March 16th, 2019 at the Port Pavilion in San Diego. Mm-hmm. Right, day before St. Patrick's Day.
Do you have hairdressers figured out? I have 2 friends who cut hair well.
If you have hairdressers, we would love hairdressers. You could definitely tell me after we're done recording this, and I'll send them to the guys at the Longhairs, and they'll get them hooked up.
Yeah, I'll run it by them, see if they have the free time and want to do it.
Yeah, it's a good cause.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Also, we always plug The Great Cut at the end of the podcast. At the Longhairs podcast. So, yeah.
Gotta get the word out. Gotta get those 2,000 people.
Yeah, dude, it's not easy. It's not easy. But anyway, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah. Thank you for coming, and folks, thank you so much for listening. Check out the Longhairs on. You guys are on YouTube, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the Longhairs.
So check it out on YouTube. Get ready for the great cut. Start growing that hair now. 2019. Be ready.
Yeah. Do you guys call your listeners anything? Are they your?
We should start, shouldn't we?
Should we just call them bastards?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's just call them bastards. It's perfect.
Thanks for
Like
listening.
Slipknot calls their fans maggots.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, you bastards.
You know what Chris D'Elia calls his listeners? He calls them babies.
I like that.
He goes, "Hey babies, how's it going?"
Yeah, Mark Maron says, "What's up, what the fuckers, what the fuckinistas?"
Yeah, what the fuck, buddies?
All right.
Well, yeah, it was a real pleasure having you on. Do you have anything else to plug? Just finishing with the great cut.
If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram at ChuckCX, ChuckCX for Cairncross. You guys know the
Oh yeah,
Cairncross
yeah.
CX.
I used
Yeah.
that as my signature for a while on my art.
JCX?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Well, yeah. Anyway, thanks for having me on. It's good to see you guys. It's been so long.
Likewise. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening, bastards. See you next time.